6:05, it's March 3rd. Thank God March is here, I'm tired. What is it, St. Patrick's Day? It's 6:05, we're at the DPW meeting room at 965 Plain Street in Marshfield. This is the Board of Public Works meeting. We have 2 action items and 5 discussion items. The first 2 action items are an abatement over $2,000. Jane Johnston, is that what it says? Johansson. And Hurley Realty Trust. Then we'll have a discussion on the acceptance of streets, Old Woodlock Lane, Seth Prague Drive. Number 2, report on Weston and Sampson.
Excuse me, Bob, that Weston and Sampson is actually, my mistake, it's Ty and Bond.
Ty and Bond.
Yep.
All right. Ty and Bond is John Kuzak's item. Next, item number 3, report on snow budget, tracking of enterprise employees during snow plowing. That is Sean and John.
That's me,
Okay. Third is the indirect costs for the financial team. Number 5 is the town warrant articles for annual and special town meeting. We will have a superintendent's report, and we're going to vote on the January 27th meeting minutes and the February 14th open meeting minutes. Our next meeting will be March 24th, after the holy day of St. Patrick's Day. Okay. That is our agenda. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so we have Jane Johnson here. Joe Anson. No? How about Hurley Realty Trust? Do we have anyone from that? Okay. So we have 2 action items that no one is to present that, so I'm going to turn it over to the superintendent to present that. Mr. Superintendent.
First one, Jane Johansson. The remarks I received were elderly person lives alone, leak in crawl space. One of our technicians went and took a look and videoed the leak. We found it worthy of abatement.
Okay.
I'll accept that.
Was it fixed?
Yes.
Any comments from the board?
No.
No, I
No.
think it's fair.
So is this, the abatement being normalized?
Yes, everything's spelled out here in the sheet.
Okay. I'll make a motion to normalize the bill and take, accept the recommendation of staff and the superintendent.
Bobby, can you explain that we don't mention the numbers?
Say that?
We don't mention any numbers. We don't mention any dollar
Do
amount.
we need to?
No, I don't want to.
No, I don't want to either.
No, I'm just saying that.
Okay.
Our policy.
Well, the public record is the numbers are available.
I know, it's a policy,
Okay.
we don't mention any numbers.
Okay, so that's a motion to accept the recommendation of the superintendent and staff and give an abatement.
Okay, second.
All in favor?
Aye. They are public records if anybody wants.
Okay, so next one is also an abatement for Hurley Realty Trust. Mr. Superintendent.
Same situation, a burst pipe in the crawl space, repaired. We found it worthy of an abatement. I talked to the water superintendent, he thought the same thing, so it's spelled out the bottom.
Okay. So I'll make a recommendation, the same recommendation, that we accept the staff's recommendation, the superintendent's recommendation, and the report for the abatement. And that is the motion, do I have a second on the motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I have a question, because we're just coming out of the cold weather. Does the water department have any recommendations on the website? A lot of people have crawl spaces, what they can do to prevent leaks in the future?
Oh, sure.
All right. If not, maybe we should take a look at it and have a crawl space, the DPW Water Department would be more than happy to help you out. Okay. Next item, road acceptance, Old Woodlot Lane, and Seth Craig Drive. Since, John, you put this on the agenda,
Yeah,
why don't you talk about it?
I did, I was contacted by Phyllis Burns. These roads, as far as I remember, way back when, were accepted at town meeting, but they never got recorded. So they've been waiting years to find out when Old Woodlot Lane and Seth Craig will be put on. I don't know if you have to bring it back to town meeting or what we have to do, but we've been waiting for something to happen, and I believe it's at the Board of Selectmen have the final say, or the select board now. Am I correct, Boyd?
We stopped when we got the new street acceptance policy, and there was a lot of questions about sidewalks, accepting the sidewalks, the drainage structures, the drainage lots connected to drainage systems, easements in lieu of fee in the road. These questions were all asked and they're never resolved, so what that needs to be done is we gotta, I guess, accept the policy that was drafted, or modify it, and then we can, the plans were prepared, we just would have to update them to make sure they have the correct, current owners. I believe that would be the extent, I gotta get back to the surveyors, and then we gotta go through the process. There's a set process, there's timeframes we have to meet, and go through it, go to town meeting. One of the problems that I see that might be, if, what it says is that we have to get gifts of easements, right after town meeting. We have 120 days to get those gifts from everybody. I would assume that if the developer didn't take the fee in the road, then we end up getting gifts from each one of those abutters, and that might be time consuming to get. That perhaps, we could look at that, maybe we could get those easements, those gifts, in advance, or just somehow speed up the process, if
Yeah, but
that's possible.
they're flexible. So, you know, they're,
Yeah, and all it takes is one, it's the whole process up, that 120 days goes like that.
we can start it now. I can get in touch with one of the owners that has emailed me.
Yeah, I mean, you have to go through the process, you have to notify the selectmen of the intent, then we gotta go to the planning board, we gotta, have those, road layouts, completed, back to the DPW board, have a meeting with the abutters, we gotta go through that whole process.
Well, it's all right. We gotta do something. They've
Right.
been waiting for years.
Yeah,
Oh,
I know.
we wanted to explain to you what we have to do.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, so that has to be done. As far as I know, that policy was never accepted. And there was all these questions of whether or not we wanted to take responsibility of the drainage, or the sidewalks, or the lots connected to the drainage. And there was one issue that was resolved, and that was, if we take easements in lieu of the fee, can we still apply for chapter 90 funds? And the answer was yes, they said we could, as long as we had adopted a policy that was consistent. And town meeting voted for that policy. I'm not sure if the town meeting has to vote for the policy, but the town in general had accepted, had a policy in place.
Do we have a policy? Do we have to vote on this tonight?
Well, that policy, you should at least go over the policy, and, I mean, this is a different board than it was when the policy first came out.
You have a copy, it's right here.
Can we?
Yeah, go through it, make sure everybody's on board, and accept the policy.
Next
Read it,
meeting?
we'll do it the next meeting.
All right, so we'll do this the next meeting. That's step one.
Well, the
Accept-
issue is that we need to go through the policy and have a discussion on the policy. What we like and what we don't like, if we need to change it.
Yes.
That's number one. The second is it's any road that applies to it. The homeowner association and the neighbors, need to, there's in the policy, need to make a formal request. All right, and then there's also a conditional report that we need to have, so that we're not gonna, we accept the road and the sidewalks and the drainage. The town doesn't have to come up with $200,000 to accept the road, and have a financial burden on the town before we even start. So, you know, there's a number of steps. We're not gonna be taking over.
It's gonna be the criteria.
Yeah, we gotta meet that criteria, and it's gotta be in the policy. So I think that we need to have a good discussion on what should be in the policy, and what we would accept, and what we won't accept. I'm not in favor, or I'm not against accepting roads, but historically, it's all chapter 90 money, and very little town money, the general fund goes into funding the roads.
So what we're asking is that you folks read the policy next week or two. We'll bring it up to the next meeting.
Next meeting, that's
And
step one.
You can change or not change whatever you want, and we'll take it to the next step.
This is just for, well, the ones we're gonna accept if we do it is Old Woodlot and Set Spray. They've been waiting forever, so,
We have plans for those, we just have to.
There's a list of them. They gotta meet the criteria,
yeah, well,
which those do.
right,
We just need to follow through and, you know, we gotta take the sidewalks, the drainage.
right,
So read through the policy,
yeah.
and we'll reconvene the next meeting about it.
We'll discuss the policy, that will be our step one, accept it. And then what do you do, Rod? What's the next step?
Once you accept the policy, then we follow the guidelines, the dates that are there. You contact the selectmen and tell them that we're interested in doing these, roads. I think they probably have to vote on them.
Yeah, yeah, they do.
You know, And then we go to the planning board, and there's a step from that, and then, but in the meantime, we've gotta get all those plans finalized.
But we have
We have them, they just have to, you just have to go through them and, you know, change the abutters' names and make sure everything is complete.
So it has to be filed in land court also?
If they're land court, then they would be filed on the land court. If we're doing easements, they'd be filed on the land court side at Plymouth.
So it's not that easy to accept, but there is a process, and hopefully we'll have a good process. These are fairly new roads too, right?
Yeah.
10 years old?
Yeah,
So we're not gonna put a lot of money into them, so.
no,
No, once you read the policy, we vote on the policy at the next meeting, then I will reach out, because we're kind of swamped, I'm gonna reach out to our consultant that does our paving, and I've done, assess the road and get it to the next step.
yeah. All right, so we're moving on.
We'll move.
Okay, I know, but, you know,
Okay.
it gets to be a loop, it goes around and around and around.
Absolutely not.
So finally, we're gonna get the step, we're gonna make steps
Okay.
instead of a loop, right? Right, Bobby?
Like I said, I'm not for and I'm not against accepting roads. I wanna make sure that we do the right process.
Yeah, the normal.
And that it's clear and it's auditable and that everybody's agreed, because when we take on the liability of the roads, that's a future liability for the town, both from a liability standpoint and a financial standpoint.
Yeah.
And we need to make sure that we're not putting an added burden to the town. But they're all taxpayers too, and they deserve
Of course
to
they do.
have their road looked at, and if it could be accepted, it should be accepted. Okay, anything else on item number 2? Hearing none,
Wait a
we'll
minute.
pass over to the next one, item
Hold
number
on,
3.
Will you hold on and we'll see you at.
Oh, number 2, oh, actually, number 1, that was number 1.
All right.
I'm jumping ahead, sorry.
Hold on.
Number
He
2,
said, wait a minute, will you? You know,
Oh, I did.
you gotta open your ears and.
I'm deaf in my left ear where you
Yeah,
sit.
I know.
We need to switch places.
What do
I'm
you
gonna
got?
sit in the audience and raise my hand.
What do you got?
These roads were accepted at town meeting, I want that very clear. They were accepted. They just didn't go through the process.
Possibly, I don't remember those.
Yeah, I do remember, they were.
I do,
They were
I know that
accepted.
they were too.
Yeah.
This has come up a few
So,
times.
so that's why, you know, they really, it was they were accepted at town meeting, it never got recorded. So now we're going to go back, instead of a loop, we're gonna do stairs.
So I have
I
a
don't think
question.
they were ever completed. I mean, I don't think they had a top course on
Well,
what
this,
you're talking
this is
about.
the problem, we're going in the loop again. And we wanna go, you know,
So I have a question, the town council's present in the, town council. If it was accepted at town meeting and we didn't act upon it in a timely fashion, does it have to go back to town meeting?
It does.
Okay.
You have 120 days from the date town meeting acts to record the order taking the roadway, and that clearly did not happen. There had been a historical practice of not accepting new roadways for years, and I was asked to draft a policy back in late 2020 to have roadways accepted, because I think as Mr. Cusick indicated, there were a lot of people that lived on newer roads and they wanted their roadways accepted. So I created a policy. The policy, I can simplify it if people want to have it simplified, but begins with a petition to the select board. The revised policy, which I think I got some input from Rod and maybe Tom Reynolds at the time, was to incorporate the Board of Public Works as the review entity. So once the selectmen vote in December or January of each year of their intention to lay out a roadway, the matter gets referred over to the Board of Public Works for a public hearing. We create a warrant article. You then evaluate the condition of the roadway, determine whether it's in conjunction with the planning board, determine whether it's in good enough shape to be accepted, or if any work needs to be done before it is accepted. Many times, if it's not as perfect as we want it when we accept it, we ask them to do a few things, and then we put it on the warrant, and we take it. And we usually take an easement, we don't take the fee in the roadway. After town meeting, within 120 days, Rod is right, we have a plan, and we record the plan and order of taking, and it's usually given to us for no money as a gift. We need sign-offs from all of the property owners and all their mortgagees. So if this was on the warrant back a few years back, it did not follow the Chapter 82 process, and even if it didn't, it wasn't recorded within 120 days.
Okay, so we're back at square one, but it's good to, if we go back to town meeting, we could say that.
Well, we
it
have,
was once
the
before.
good thing is we have a policy. My understanding was that it was reviewed at the time, and I think it's ready for your adoption. I haven't heard whether it was ever adopted, but it's a really good policy. All the forms there, the petition forms, all the consents we need, all you need to do is use that form, but make sure you understand it. If you don't, I'm happy to answer the questions.
I
This
I have a question for him.
have one question, Duncan. Yeah, I have the
this
phone.
is it from,
So,
Yeah, that's-
how many other towns do you know of that have this similar policy?
Every time.
Every town? Okay, so we'll be in line with everybody else.
Yeah, you had a policy back from the 60s that didn't comport with current law, so I was asked, probably by your board, to update the policy so that you could begin considering accepting streets again. So that's what I did back in late 2020 and 2021. And the immediate feedback that I got was, your board wanted to have decision-making authority and recommending authority to town meeting, and I thought that made sense. So I rewrote the policy to provide your board as the review, determines the conditions, determines whether any betterment assessments are necessary. If it's a roadway that was built 30 years ago and it's not up to current standards, there's a possibility that we may have to ask for that cost and expense to be evaluated and assessed to the property owners if they want the roadway to become
As a better.
a public way, as a betterment.
I have a question for him.
Okay, go ahead.
Do you know why those roads weren't recorded? Whose responsibility is it to record them once all that was
It
done?
would be my responsibility to record a valid order of taking.
Yeah.
I'm not aware of any order of taking that was ever provided to us.
When these roads were
You wouldn't be,
accepted?
it wouldn't be a valid taking because we didn't comply with the Chapter 82 process.
So you don't know where that went wrong with these
Well, it didn't
prior?
go through the Chapter 82 process. I think what happened is, I remember, is people filed citizens petition articles to have their roadways taken, and that's not the proper process.
That's how it got accepted at town meeting? Through a citizen's petition?
Probably.
These roads?
We can look back at the time, but I think they were citizens petition articles.
That was quite a ways back, I want to say there was 21 roads on that list.
That was back in
And some did not.
2000, I think it was.
Yes, it was 2001. It was
Ron's like, you gotta have
So that's why they weren't recorded.
you gotta have a plan, the plan has to be prepared by a surveyor. Rod has to approve that plan, make sure it's, consistent with engineering standards. And just because somebody wants it doesn't mean you're all gonna approve it, because it might not be in a good enough condition. I mean, it might have its base coat and raised, structures on it, and not even have a second coat. So it'll be up to you all to decide whether it's in satisfactory condition.
I understand. I had questions why those roads weren't recorded, so thank you
Because
for
there's a bunch of
that
roads
answer.
that didn't qualify.
Okay.
So, where we go from here is go through the policy, review it, vote on it, and establish a roadmap that someone wants the road done, we go through the process.
And then we can move forward.
I
That's
would,
the policy.
How do we?
just in fairness, I think it might be too, short a time for this year's Springtown meeting. But roadways could be accepted, no problem at all in the fall.
That was my next question.
Yeah.
Just answered it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no way there's enough time.
Yeah,
No,
I
you
didn't
could have
think you'd
public
get it,
hearings.
No, and the fall town meeting would work. Gives us a lot of time to get this thing right.
Rod and I were talking about that this afternoon, and that's, okay, that's good, it's good to know.
Because they pay high taxes. I think these two roads, at least the ones I was contacted, are in great condition. I don't think they need anything, but if they do, I'm sure that they will take care of,
We know what to do,
yeah,
just
all right,
review the policy, we'll vote on it.
Okay.
Okay.
Next meeting.
all right. Thanks for the policy. Well, did you write this, Mr. Gallo?
I did,
Well, you did a good job.
thank you.
Thank you.
So, John, anything else?
No, I'm all set, thank you.
I wanna make sure that I didn't jump ahead on you.
No, that's.
Okay, thank you.
You're so polite, thank you so much.
All right. Discussion number 2, tie and bond.
Tie and bond, that's me.
So, this popped up at last minute, so, I gave you each
A tie and bond.
a proposal that was sent to Rod. If I remember correctly, the board already voted on moving forward with this. So if everybody's good with this, then we're gonna move forward. It's on front and back, like screwed up like that.
It should be front and back. That's
Yeah,
a good use of paper.
it is.
Not in contract.
Not a contract, but it's not a contract,
It's
so.
not a contract.
Yeah, I read it. I approved this.
John, you read it, I know it was one of your.
Yeah, no, I read it. We actually met with Ty and Bond and had a discussion. And it's, one of the discussions, they're gonna do a building permit review for the past 10 years. This is not gonna raise anybody's taxes. It's not gonna hurt any of the utility fees. It's just that and I've spoken about this before at this meeting, it's for the small cottages that have been improved, actually knocked down, and they have a McMansion in it. So it's added to the tax base. So the sewer, because if you didn't have the sewer, you couldn't do this.
So do we, this is not an action item, right? It doesn't need to be action, because we did an
We've
action
already
item before.
discussed that, and, yeah,
Remember you made me years on.
No, right, I understand.
right, yep.
So,
So
um,
it's $6,500.
so are you okay with moving ahead and have the superintendent enter into a contract with us?
Yeah,
All right.
it's good. It's,
Are you okay with that? But we can't do an action item. 'cause it's
You
not
guys
an
already
action.
voted on it.
We already
voted on it.
You're okay with this?
So we're okay with
Yeah,
it, so
this is
just, so as part of the discussion, we'll have the superintendent move forward with this proposal,
Very good.
which we voted on in a previous meeting.
Yeah, and if anybody wants an update exactly, I'm more than happy to, after the meeting, to discuss it. Any questions?
Okay, all right.
No
Is that,
questions.
yeah, okay.
Got more than 2 minutes.
Number 2, we finished on number 2?
What are we all set, Bob?
I don't want to jump ahead.
All right, go ahead.
All right, number 3, report on snow budget and tracking of enterprise employees for snow plowing.
That's
I'm
my-
gonna let the superintendent talk first, and then, John, you can
thank you,
do that.
thank you.
How are we doing with the snow budget? And,
I'm waiting for the final reports, and I spoke to John already about this, that I wanna wait until winter's done, so I can track everything in one report.
okay, so we have a $400,000 budget, how are we doing against the $400,000 budget?
No,
How much?
I don't know exactly. You gotta
Okay.
look at it.
But you can definitely spend that.
Yes.
It's not a problem.
But it's not like previous years.
No, it's not $120 million.
Yeah.
It's 2015.
Well, like when Charlie Baker was governor.
I told Mike about it, Roscoe, and he said, no problem, he brought it to the select board, I think last meeting, and they said, go forward.
So we're pretty much on budget, but we do use enterprise vehicles.
This
So
is,
it helps.
this is tracking, and we've done this in the past, what the folks in the vehicles do during the storm, and how many hours they accumulate. And I get a report from Karen, she's on vacation on Wednesday, so. I don't anticipate any more snow, so I'll have run a final report.
So
Right, everything.
will you add the fuel in?
Everything is calculated in.
Yeah, because we get double charged because it's in the indirect, so we add the fuel in. We need a higher percentage on the maintenance. That's something that needs to be discussed with the select board. And in the methodology, it's only 5%. It's 5% of 400,000, we get 20 grand.
So what I'm gonna do is this, I have a report run, with all the figures, bring it to the next meeting, and you three can decide on how to approach it.
Well, fine. Is there a line item that we can move that money from the, how are we gonna get paid?
Is it an offset? Is it an offset?
It's an offset, that's what we did in the past.
You wanna run it against their outlandish, disgusting 1.7 million?
Just,
I mean, that's, no,
I know.
they should, no, they should cut us a check. Gotta get a line item for this.
So,
that's not up to me to decide, you guys,
let's take a look at it next week, and we'll look at it as an offset, and if we need to go to the selectmen with a different proposal about reimbursement, we'll do that.
that's the best way to approach it.
Yeah, I wanna see it before we start trying to dig into it.
I wanna know if it's a little number, a big number, or what it is, so that people get a handle on it.
It's not a little number. You know, our employees, before you know what was happening, the ratepayers were paying for the snow plowing until they get overtime, and then it kicked in to the snow budget. So the ratepayers were actually paying to plow our roads. Remember that thing?
So,
I do.
John, I don't disagree with anything you just said. I think that we need to put it in a package so that we can be transparent and clear, and we can give the selectmen a proposal and an opportunity to make it right. Or make it wrong, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. No one said, the number's a number, and we've always dealt with it offsets, and we should do it, moving forward.
You gotta get the final report.
We just need to get the final report.
Okay.
And we gotta make sure now on what we have on the offsets that are there now, that have picked up everything. You know, we got trash, water, sewer. There's a lot there on the trash that's not being picked up on the offsets. I know there is. So, you know, we gotta,
So that gets into the next item, John.
right,
The next item is the indirect costs with the financial team, as we're talking about the similar.
that's true. Where these people sit down.
They were doing the roads.
So on item number 3, and move into item number 4, which is a continuation of the discussion. The indirect with the financial team is all the indirects with trash, wastewater. That should be from a general fund to an offset back to the enterprise.
I understand both, you know, I understand the offsets, and how, you know, how that might work. But the next item, as you can see, the indirect costs now have gone up, 266,000, they're up to almost 1.8 million. Yeah, they're way out of whack. But the problem we have is the financial team will not meet with our financial team, including myself. They won't meet.
We asked,
John, address that.
we asked for a meeting about this particular
Yeah.
item, and, I was just told that, the information we got is what we're not gonna change anything, that's the way it's gonna be. I had once asked him to come to one of the board meetings, he agreed to, but I think that may have changed, I don't know what's going on, to be honest with you. A lot of friction going on, to be
Oh.
honest.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but we haven't seen the indirects, we haven't voted on them. We usually vote on them, we usually vote no. And then when we vote no, we don't accept this disgusting amount of money. They made up their own rules that they will go back to last year's indirects and use those. And that's not in the manual. So,
So what I would like to do is, we printed a lot of paper off.
I see it, it's good, but
I have a separate sheet that I want to bring to the next meeting, to go over specifically with the indirect costs and so forth.
do you wanna go over how we gotta have this guy Sobel here, because we gotta find out how are you coming up with the percentages. That's number one, he's all over the place. He's actually written, maybe we could use this, maybe we don't. I could sit down with him and figure this out with him.
They won't meet.
He won't do it. You
So-
don't know what kind of percentages they're using and how they arrive at that. Because it's costing the ratepayers a ton of money. It is. It's an actual ripoff. It is. I'd go down line by line and show you some of the things, but I don't want to embarrass anybody at this meeting, but it's disgusting.
So why don't we do this? I don't wanna jump on.
Go ahead,
I
Bob.
make a proposal. Proposal is that we formally ask the financial team, treasurer, accountant, to,
Meet with me.
meet with the Board of Public Works at our next meeting. And
I'll do that.
and that way, if they don't come, at least get the whatever the reports are that they're proposing to us, so that we can actually do a review. If we don't like what we see, we as a board will enumerate in writing back to them what the issues are and hammer it out. All right, and then we have a base of difference that we can actually work with the town administrator and the select board of what the differences are and have a discussion with the board of selectmen.
Sharon, at one of our Monday meetings, they did say they would come to the meeting.
Yeah, I believe that
That was a while back.
discussed. Yeah, it was quite a bit ago, but yes.
So we'll approach that
Yeah.
again next month.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that way, at least we're gonna do we're gonna do due diligence, we're gonna enumerate, we're gonna define what the issues are, things that we don't have issues with, just pin them down, and then we can actually ask for a joint meeting with the select board to hammer it out. But let's do our homework first,
I will send you that.
okay?
And we'll approach that.
That's my proposal, how do you guys feel?
Well,
Yeah, we've asked for a joint meeting with the select board
What do we
on
do?
this before, but we didn't take the step of inviting the financial team to our meeting
Right.
prior to that, so
And if there
maybe
are,
that's the way to make it happen.
because the question is, do we have a problem with the whole thing? Or do we have a problem with half of the thing, or do we have a problem with a quarter of it? And we can zone in on what the issues are. One of the big issues is, and John, I'm gonna paraphrase what you've said in the past, is that the base of all the indirects and the percentages is based on everything that is non-schools. School budget is not included at all, and I've said in the past that this whole school budget really doesn't need to be in there, but the infrastructure of the schools does need to be in there. So there's because they're tied to the hard structure of the town. All the salaries of the teachers doesn't need to be in there as part of it, but I think that the facilities cost for running the schools should be part of it, just like the police department is, like the fire department is, and all those other pieces in it. Because right now, we're getting zero, and it should be something above zero.
No, I'm talking about this budget, now, this is the problem. In the methodology that's written, that you know about this one, it says to use the total town
Town.
budget. That's what it says. We need to sit down with somebody from the financial team to show us the numbers of the total town budget against the numbers of the individually enterprise funds, how they arrived at a percentage times their budget. It's kind of confusing how it works, but I do know how it works. But we need, I don't know, I got all the paperwork, I don't know how the hell this guy comes to anything. I can't figure it out. I said, it's just, I mean, we're paying on the town administrator. The ratepayers compensating the town $120,000. I've asked him, what do you do? What do you do for $120,000? He'll give you no answer. He said, he doesn't give an answer. You know, I mean, some of these charges are you know, they got nothing on the mafia, I tell you that.
So, but,
Well, look at this.
No, it
They
makes,
went
no,
up.
it makes zero
I
sense.
got the indirect cost.
Right, the
No,
numbers
they've
make no
gone up
sense.
but the issue that we've had in the past
We've had this
is
issue
the
all along.
total town budget, and what's included, do you mean by?
Those two,
the total-
there are two issues.
But that's, you know, you're getting into, I agree with you, what am I getting for $120,000, I'm getting a bit, but really, what you really need to come up with is, what constitutes the total town budget? Because what we have is, we don't have the total town budget, we have everything except for the schools, and the schools is more than half of the budget.
60%.
Listen, if you leave the schools out, the percentage is double. I know how
Right.
this works, all right? It's the total town budget, brings the percentages down to, on average, 4%, maybe it goes 5. If you let them do what they're doing, they're doubling the percent that they arrive at these numbers that are totally off the wall. So,
Yeah, so
I would like to meet with this guy
So
Tobin
it's
one-on-one.
two issues.
There's two issues.
It's two issues.
You know, I mean, if we sit here with with financial team and everything in public, they're gonna play games. You know, we gotta find out how they arrive at the percentages. I still don't know. And I know these enterprise accounts. I got the indirects right here.
I don't disagree with you, John.
I mean, they went up $206,000 on pensions. Now they're charging us 700.
So the sheet that you're looking at, did you give us a
Did we
copy?
get that?
Did
No, you know,
Is
it's,
this what you
listen,
got on your FOI?
it's so bad, that this guy sends it out, that you have to cut and paste and use Scotch tape to put it together. I'm telling you the truth.
All right, so, I'm
These
going
are-
back to what I had said before. Let's get what John has, so we can go review it, we should review it with the financial team. We should, go through the whole thing.
I agree with that. Go through the whole thing.
Go through the
line by-
whole thing.
Line by line.
Right, well, the thing is, the first thing is define total town budget. That's the first thing. The second thing is, then we go line by line and say which ones we have issues with, where we don't have issues, and then we can actually codify it in writing so that we can actually go to the next step and sit with
Let us,
the people that already oversee the financial team, which is the board of select board and the town administrator.
Question about this. So the first step is the total town budget. What if the whole conversation falls apart right
The
there?
total
Like,
town budget
if-
is $116 million.
Right, I know, but they're taking the schools out, so the whole conversation can fall apart right on that point. Like, do you know what I'm saying? In this meeting, like, if, so we're gonna have to approach it that if you do it with the total town budget, or if you do it the way it is, and look at the percentages for both.
Which still, but the thing is, at least we'll write it down and say, our first issue is the total town budget. We agree or don't agree, and we can actually figure out what would be the
Here's the
proposal.
bottom line, all right? All I can do, and Paul Sharon can do, Rod can, and everybody on the staff, is approach them and ask them to come to a meeting. If they do, they do. If they don't, they don't. We're gonna have to move forward. But
But
I'm
it's a-
going to set up, and we find something.
I agree with you,
Okay.
but it's in the methodology that we've agreed to.
I've been here for 10 years, we've been arguing with this for 10 years, I know that, I know that.
And every time we argue it, they say, screw, we'll use last year's indirects, go pound sand, and that's what happens. I'm sick of it, I am.
And
I
that's
tell
what
it like
they
it
did.
is, we're getting ripped off.
And that's what they did, it's happened before, so,
And
I mean, it's good to bring it to a head, but we need to put things in so that the general public knows exactly what the issue is.
That's what you three have to do,
Okay,
as a board.
all right, so,
I mean, we've discussed it so many times, so you're gonna make a formal request for
I am.
them to come to the next, is it gonna be the next meeting?
And bring their figures.
actually, the Board of Public Works is making the formal
Yeah.
request, not the superintendent.
Oh, do we have to vote? We can vote on
I'm
it.
doing the pledge of the board, what you guys want me to do is to go ask them to set up a meeting, I'm gonna do that.
We have asked for meetings before, and they haven't happened, so this time, we're asking them to come here for a meeting, rather than setting up
With their
another
figures,
meeting.
with their
Okay.
Well,
data,
they're gonna bring everything.
you know?
Okay.
And the town administrator, bring his data for the 120 grand, I wanna see it. I do. And if he doesn't have it, we're gonna take it out.
All right, so then we, after we have the meeting, then we can codify exactly what the issues are, and then we can actually, move forward with it, because it's been going on too long.
Well,
Okay, next, John,
Okay,
you,
good.
can we get on to the next item? John, you okay?
Yeah, go ahead, Fran. Thank you.
All right, item number 5, town warrant articles for the annual and special town meeting. Mr. Superintendent and town engineer, do you have a list?
I don't have anything myself for the, annual.
There's nothing there.
These gentlemen here, you have anything we want to discuss?
Who came in late? Did they come in late for something? Go right ahead. What were you in here late for?
I came in to see about the street acceptance, but I was late.
Did you hear what we had to say?
no,
No.
they came in after.
Okay, we'll catch you up afterwards.
That's fine,
We have
thank you.
We have a plan in place.
We have a plan.
Thank you.
Okay,
Anybody
warrant
else?
articles.
So we just turned the special, articles in, last Friday.
Yes, it's Friday.
And I have not met with the advisory board or the capital committee yet. So I am meeting with the advisory board Wednesday, 3 o'clock. Members that can see the DPW, Sherry and Paul, to go over this stuff. So I'm not, I should have just postponed it until the next meeting, so I have all the information.
Since you're meeting with the advisory people, would any board members like to attend that meeting?
This is 2 members coming to see me Wednesday. I have an official meeting with the advisory board, I was notified today. Next Wednesday, 6:30.
What's that one?
That's going to be in my budget.
Oh. Okay.
It's set,
Your
In the slot this year.
entire budget,
yeah,
enterprise and
everything.
retained everything.
What does that mean?
Next Wednesday at 6:30.
Could you notice the board members to see if they want to go?
I just was notified at 4 o'clock this afternoon myself, so.
No, I understand
yeah.
that. But I want to make sure that all members have the opportunity to know when these meetings are and attend.
You're talking about Wednesday the 15th? Or the 5th? You said next Wednesday.
With my calendar.
so,
12th.
okay. Oh, I'm looking.
It's 12.
In the wrong month. I'm gonna say,
It's not even
it was
big,
not
it's
ringing a
big.
bell. I'm meeting with 2 members of the advisory board on Wednesday prior to the meeting, the 12th.
Okay.
So the 5th and 12th. 5th is
Oh,
me,
5th is
12th
you.
is wide open for everybody.
All right.
Okay.
Mm.
So it's like town meeting.
Yeah,
Send out an email on that.
on the 12th, I would like to go. Do we have to have, if we're all gonna go, it has to be
No, we don't.
an official meeting, right?
Yeah, we can't
It's
be.
a public meeting.
Yeah,
Is
if your
public
board is
meeting?
attending,
Is-
if your board is attending a meeting of the other board, you can do that, you just can't deliberate. You're answering questions, so you don't have to comply, you don't have to post that. If, you're welcome to if you want to, but you don't have to.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else on item number 5? No? I'd like to, want to vote to accept the minutes of January 27th.
We got superintendent's report.
Yeah.
No,
That's next item.
meetings, minutes are first.
Minutes are first. We'll do the minutes of the January 27th first. I make a motion to accept the minutes of January 27th.
Hold on, there was something here. Wait a minute,
Comments?
wait a minute.
Well, that's what I am, wait.
Something here.
I do have a comment on an issue too, John. And it goes to Ken Ryan Engineering, pays the throw bags. Are we allowing a vendor that sells our bags to do a markup?
No,
No, we discussed that last meeting.
Were any vendors doing a markup and since then ceased doing so?
I can't confirm that, I don't know.
yes and yes.
Okay. I'm not gonna name names,
No.
but,
Oh, you sent a letter.
We talked.
Okay.
okay, good.
Could you get me?
Okay. That's the only one I had an issue on.
John, you had something?
Yeah, I can't, I'm gonna pass on this. There is some, I'm gonna abstain. There is something, I just can't find it right now, so just keep me out of it.
Okay, so I made a motion to accept the minutes of January 27th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll put a no.
Okay. You can abstain too. You don't have to say no, you can just abstain.
All right, I'll abstain.
So just show that to John Kuzik's abstaining for the minutes of January 27th, and you got 2 positive votes. Okay, the next item is February 14th, meeting minutes. I'll make a motion to accept. Any comments?
Wait a minute, which ones are we doing, February 14th?
14th, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't there.
Okay, so, yeah, it says John was a
Here.
member.
You were here.
Yeah, you were there.
Which one did I?
It was the Thursday meeting.
Oh, all right, I'm sorry, yeah. that's-
Just remember, I gave you Valentine's that day?
Thank you so much. All right,
This was the one I called in.
Yeah, it just went.
I knew there was something cooking there.
Yeah, you knew there was something different
It was the
about it.
heart, that was the, what's the issue?
Yep.
Okay, I'm all right with this.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I'll make a motion to accept.
Second.
Second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, now we go to the superintendent's report.
Okay.
All right.
So the first thing I want to bring up is, I spoke to the council about this, to make sure I was within the correct parameters. We were not notified prior to 48 hours, we were notified today that, in order to, I'm gonna read the block voting. In order to move ahead to proceed with the additional beach sediment as requested by state office CCM for the Bay Area Beach Renourishment Project, the town needed to rebid
what's the question?
is, the superintendent is asking the board for a vote on an action item that was not on the agenda.
I did tell him it was permissible, because this has come up within 48 hours, and it's of an emergency nature.
Okay, good.
And just so the board is aware, when we entered into this contract, we were allowed to go 25% higher than what the contract amount was. The amount that you're asking for now is more than 25%, so it had to be rebid using emergency procurement procedures. So what the superintendent is asking you for is authority to employ those emergency procedures to acquire this additional sand, which basically has to be acquired as soon as we can complete this emergency process, and the money and the materials have to be spread before the end of the month.
So having heard all that, we make a motion to accept the superintendent request to the board and put it to a vote.
Second,
Anyone second it?
I'll second that.
Second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we move forward with that. Thank you, town council.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else?
I'm gonna turn this over to Sharon. How are we doing with the invoices?
So our invoices, as of today, we do not have anything, that we are waiting on being paid. So everything has been, paid, that has been submitted,
Okay, great.
yeah.
There has been, just for full disclosure, there has been a problem with some procurement issues and contracts paying invoices. And the DPW has been working with the town administrator and others to rectify that issue.
Yes, we have.
Yes.
You want to speak about the electrical?
What was that, John? Okay.
Not right now.
Okay, so any other items on?
That's all I have.
Okay. Any other items that is on the agenda that someone wants to bring up that we can speak about?
Any questions from the audience?
Question?
Hearing none.
Any questions at all?
You have questions on that road?
Well, I thought I'd see you after to get.
So we'll see you afterwards?
Yeah.
Okay. I would like to make a motion to adjourn. It is 6:58. Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?